Hi guys, this is Serena and you're watching a summary of Season 7 of The Walking Dead. For those of you who haven't seen Season 7, spoiler alert, warning, stop watching now, okay? Anyway, what we see in Season 7, this season opens up with the first chapter, and what we see here is the real turn of events for what's going on in Alexandria and what's going on with the survivors. Negan's rule has officially taken hold. He kills Abraham in the beginning with his beloved bat Lucille, and then we find him killing Glenn in the end brutally. And in the midst of all of this, we see a true mind game take hold, and Rick loses his power and submits to Negan. What we see here is that Rick is dealing with a lot. Who wouldn't be in a post-apocalyptic, walk-ridden world? But what we see here is that Negan has truly taken hold of his psychological well-being. After almost forcing him to cut off his son's hand, we see him break, and we see what seems to be a projection for the rest of the season. How do we feel about this? How do I feel about this? I personally really don't care for Negan. I really don't think this is a good way to end things, and I don't think it's a good way to start a new season. I was extremely anxious watching this, and we'll see what happens as it goes on. Then, as we see Carol and Morgan head to the kingdom, we see a new reign of hope, hopefully, and we meet King Ezekiel and his pet tiger Shiva, who I thought personally was awesome. He met her in a zoo. They have a very touching personal story, shows the humanity, the whole shebang. Unfortunately, we find out in the end that King Ezekiel has been giving aid to the saviors without telling the rest of his people. Another disappointment, another point for Negan. As we see here, Carol is very upset, but ends up getting convinced by her bond with King Ezekiel, who moves to a house isolated a few ways out from the kingdom. We come back to the sanctuary and find that Daryl is being held and being tortured at the hands of Negan and his henchman, Dwight. Daryl is being tortured relentlessly. Honestly, it was very hard to watch. That's not my favorite to watch either, but you know I'm committed to this show and I just had to keep going. As Dwight's sent off on a different mission to find an escaped savior, we see that his own brutality is questioned, and we might get a glimpse of hope coming out of the saviors as he ends up delivering a mercy killing to the escaped survivor. As we continue with this season, we see a lot going on from different points. We have the hilltop, we have the kingdom, we have the sanctuary, and eventually we have Oceanside, which, if we're being honest, should remain a secret. Anyway, as we keep going with that, we see that all camps are trying to deal with Negan's rule. No one's really succeeding. Rick is still out of the picture, Daryl is being tortured, and Carl, for a brief moment, seems like he's gonna be the one that takes over, if he can stay out of the grasp of Negan. As we find this in the end, we see that everyone is reunited where they need to be, thank God. And we see that Michonne finally takes over, getting Rick back to the psychological state where he needs to be. It took him long enough, thank you. And we see that the whole group of survivors, the remaining survivors, reunite on the hilltop, the gun is exchanged, and they're ready to bring it on for Negan in the second half of Season 7. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Serena, and I hope you all had a great time watching this first half of the season, as I did. And tune in next time for the second half, the summary of Season 7 of The Walking Dead.